Hi, my name is Atala Toy, and I'm the president of a company called Crystal Life Technology. We've been in business since 1995, and we deal with subtle land clearing and personal consultations. And I'm also a tool maker with a store in St. Charles where we provide energy tools that you can work with to help improve the energy of your life and the balance. My background in business, I started at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology where I handled their humanities publicity. I've worked in publishing a Doubleday & Company. I worked in public relations for the United Nations Development Program, and for 30 years handling publicity on a volunteer basis for a Bhakti Yoga group. So my background is straight communication, which ends up when I got into energy as interdimensional communication, or how we communicate among all species. Now the topic for tonight is going to be to find the meaning in the mundane. And this is can be handled on many levels, but I wanted to start with the very highest spiritual level. We all have the issue of our work and our job, but if you are working with people with consciousness, the very highest level of spiritual awareness through all the traditions throughout the world is for people to focus on the mundane and to find that the whole universe is in the mundane, the everyday occurrences of life. And that's why you find that people go into convents, monasteries, ashrams, go into the mountains or the caves to take away all of the extraneous details and focus back down to the actual most mundane act of all, which is how do you live your life? What does it involve? So this is at the very highest level. Now, when you are working in a workplace and you have that repetitive task where you might be a postal clerk doing a repetitive process, you can look at it at a physical basis as, my God, I can't do this one more day. Or you can do the same thing that a spiritual aspirant does, which is to ask for the mundane task, because that enables you to focus all of your consciousness on the energy behind it as a way to know yourself and the universe. So this is what we're going to be focusing on tonight, is the process of working with the mundane as a way for you to access infinite energy. All right? Now, the first thing that we're going to do is to practice. So since we're in an environment where we're all in our seats and we can't do walking meditation, which I like doing, we are going to focus on the process of simple eating and what happens when you do that most mundane act of all, which is to eat. Now, how many of you here, when you eat, are also either arguing with your kids, your spouse, or you're looking at the TV, or you're reading the paper? How many of you ever actually sit and think about the process of eating? So we're going to start with this. And those of you who are watching this in video, I suggest that you also accompany us as we do this by finding a piece of candy or something in your environment that you can practice. Now, one of the first things that we do when you're going to focus on the meaning of the mundane is to center yourself. Because in our society, when we're in our everyday life and you're scattered, you have no center and no place to even focus on what meaning is. So when we center, and those of you who are watching this, please sit with your sit or stand with both feet on the ground, hands folded in your lap, and either eyes closed or softly closed. And we're going to bring in, and since there's no time or space in the actual universe, those who are watching are going to be joining with those who are here in bringing down a peaceful energy right through you and letting all the energy of the universe flow from top through your crown chakra down through your trunk and into the center of the earth. And we'll just take a moment for that. All right. Now, let's all take and look at the piece of food that we have and consider exactly how mundane a banana chip is. And if you actually went in and you studied this banana chip, now this is your job, your life in a microcosm, something you can easily break down as a one piece of food. Study it, and I'm going to be asking you when you're done, study this and see the significance of this banana chip. All right, now eat it and see what happens when you eat. What is the significance of you putting this into your system and eating it? All right. Now, I'd like to hear, and I can either repeat what you've said or you can use the mic, either one you like. What is the significance, what significance did you see in this mundane banana chip?
Well, I actually started thinking about the fact that it wasn't grown around here.
Okay. It was not grown around here, okay.
So they had to travel miles to get here, and someone had to cut it, and someone had to dry it, and that it really had been through quite a lot.
So this banana, this little banana chip, it got to you through the hands of a lot of people in a lot of places who all put part of their consciousness, their life force energy in that little bit of food that you are eating to supply yourself either with joy or with food. So there's a lot of community in there that people who might have felt they were insignificant or mundane contributed to the benefit of everyone else. And how about you? What did you think about?
I was looking more at the different geometric shapes within there. There would be circles, or there would be spaces in the center that were open, what you would term holes in it. And it had different characteristics on one side from the other side, and I tried to just see, I concentrated mostly on its physical appearance, just to see what.
Karen, that's wonderful. So Karen was focusing on the actual appearance of the banana chip. Now, she was thinking she was focusing on it on the physical level, but I know Karen, and Karen happens to be very good with geometrics. Now, back behind form is sacred geometry, or the geometry of light. Everything that you see in the physical is actually made up of light, and if you look inside the light, you see geometries where the light connects. So if you're looking at even a banana chip, in that you can see the whole cosmos. You can see a hole in the middle that takes you into the cosmos. You can see the configuration, how it grew, how all of the cosmos grows out from the center moving out. So everything that we do, even the most mundane item, can lead us in to an opening into the universe. And this happens to be one of the core exercises if you're practicing yoga, is that you take a dot and you put it on the wall and you look at it. And when you have the capacity to move through that black dot, the whole universe opens up to you, and you see how the focus on this dot moves out. Just any act that you do, if you do it well and are focused, it'll open up into the universe. Thank you.
Actually, I like fresh bananas.
Okay, that's a very good observation.
And the taste, to me, was just so different that I reinforce that feeling of the freshness again. Maybe not newly picked, but yes, as far as not processed in any way.
So you are looking at the transformation of that from a fresh to a dried piece that has another function. So some people may prefer it one way, but you might want to go back and consider it sometime, since everything in this universe has a purpose and a function. You might want to consider finding the purpose and function and livelihood and gratitude for that little piece.
Right.
It always helps when you're doing anything that's mundane, is to offer that act gratitude. And once you do, that changes the whole feeling.
If I couldn't have a fresh banana, I
Exactly.
would be so grateful.
Exactly. So you can put
And
yourself
still
in that.
have, yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
I looked at the shape. I
Mhm.
didn't really know what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
I just, as I was looking at it, I just felt like I wanted to eat it. It just went.
Good. So you were a feeler, and you were feeling it. And do you have any comment you would like to?
Well, I saw a little dog in mine.
Oh,
And so I thought, that sort of just made me giggle, because, I just didn't expect to see that. I was just looking at it and that came up. And then when I tasted it, what I got was connection. I just got a real strong, deep sense of, I was connecting with what I was doing. I was connecting with the taste. There was just a deep sense of connection in the eating of it.
Thank you. Whatever, and that really makes sense because Nancy is concerned with community. So each of us, as we have created our life, see even in a banana chip a collapsed energy form that opens up, and it can explain about how we live, how we work, how we sense community. So this is what you need to think about when you're there in your job. What does how you work with your job have to say about how you are living your life? And if you want to change, do you want to change the job, or do you want to change you and how you approach it? So even if you're doing the most mundane act, if you just, I would say it's like taking a kaleidoscope. It's the same stones that are there, but if you just turn it a fraction, the picture changes. Now, we're going to practice this another way by doing something called pranayama. And pranayama is breath control. When you are in your work and you are focusing perhaps, well, let me put it this way. I worked at the United Nations. And the United Nations, I raised 2 sons. Now with 2 sons, there was often a time when there was some peace in the house, right? There's just 2, they could get along. I worked in a place with 168 nations, and there was never a time when people weren't fighting. Somebody, somewhere. So you have to then change your perception. All right, if we have to keep moving as the staff at the United Nations and keep continuity while all of these fights are going on, where does that mean that we have to stand in ourselves? You have to stand inside, centered, and then act in a detached manner with everybody that you meet as you come. Now, a secret to that in yoga is pranayama, which is breath control. How many of you have done pranayama? Okay, and the rest of you have not. When you are doing pranayama, what it is learning to see that you have energies moving through your body, and if you can focus on them and see how they move, you can be in control of how your body works. You also have blocked circuits in your body. And if you are doing breath control and breath work, you can unblock the circuits. And once you do that, you get a tremendous sense of freedom. So how this would apply in a business is if you are working with some difficult people, which we occasionally encounter at work, you can move into a place of detachment by focusing simply on your breath. So let's practice this. Now, when you're doing pranayama, there's a method to it. And you use your thumb and your fourth finger. And you use it on the nose. Thumb goes on one side. You can use your right hand or left. And the fourth finger on the other side. And we do a counted breath where you hold one nostril closed, you breathe in, 4 counts, you close, and then for 4 counts, and then you breathe out on the other, and then you rotate back and forth. All right.
Just move it up.
Sure. And so now let's work on that now, okay? Take this, I'm going to do the counting for you. And I want you to notice as we're doing it, we're going to do 3 rotations. See how this feels and how it changes your energy. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, closed, 2, 3, 4, open, 2, 3, 4. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. Now breathe in, 2, 3. All right, now let's review this. You're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, let go the thumb 2, 3, 4. With all the breath out, you breathe 2, 3, 4, and then you start breathing in through the thumb section. We're reversing it. So you breathe in and breathe out, then you breathe in and you breathe out, okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, what do you feel is the difference in each of those parts? Do any of you notice something that changed in you, or any reactions in your body, or something you observed?
Much more awake.
You're much more awake. All right.
A little more present.
A little more present. Okay.
More alert, more present.
Okay. All right. And you?
Definitely more awake.
Definitely more awake. Very good. All right. Now, there's a secret that's known in yoga, and that is if you want to move into the universe and have it open up into you, the secret lies, the portal or the gateway lies between the breaths. So when you are breathing in, you're in action like you are in life. When you hold in the silence, which is like meditation, you can move into the universe, and then you're in action when you breathe out. So this is something that when you're practicing at home, you can see. When you hold the breath, either full in or full out, you have a greater span of awareness because nothing's moving. All right? When you're applying this in your job and you're having difficulties such as doing a sequence, see that as a period of breathing in, breathing out, move through it as if it were a simple act of breathing, and what is the significance if you hold still in the act that you're doing? What happens if you're filling envelopes? What happens if you're typing all day? What happens if you have a repetitive line job? That can be an opening into a higher state of awareness if you permit yourself to go beyond the physical act. The other thing is, did any of you notice when you were doing it that one of your nostrils was more clogged than the other? That indicates the side of your energy that needs to be cleared. Very often, if you are doing this and you find your left side is clogged, that indicates that you may not be giving yourself enough time to have some quiet. That's the moon side. If the right side is clogged, that may mean that you have a little trouble with lethargy, and you might want to open up that area to get some more energy into your being. All right? Now, are there any questions right now that any of you have for what we've discussed?
Do you ever do the other side? Start with the other side instead of always starting with the right?
You can start either one. Either hand that you want, you can start with.
But you don't have to alternate?
No, you always alternate, because what you're doing is actually there are 3 channels in the body: the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushumna. And throughout the day, those days when your energy's down, it might be you're on the left side. And when your energy's up, you're on the right side. It cycles about every 4 hours. And when they're both in balance, the energy's coming through the Sushumna, then you have very good energy. So when you're doing the pranayama, you want to see that all the channels are open, so that if one side is clogged, and during that time you're going to be very tired, for instance, at work. So it's a very good exercise to do that.